Oh my gosh. I'm trying to sit a little bit forward because I think someone is going to leap at you.
Really fast.
But now I'm like, okay.
Oh, it's like that now. All right, I see how it is.
Yeah,
No,
you should be terrified.
I think Team Canada is. I think
Team Canada.
everyone expects Team South Korea to win it.
No,
I think
no,
yes.
not everyone.
No.
Not everyone.
All right, smart
Everybody
people
knows
expect
Team South
Korea
Korea
to
is going to win it. There's like no expect. Like, I mean, come on.
Like
Team South Korea is the only team that brought in all Overwatch League players.
That's because the top 75 players in Korea are all in the Overwatch League.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
but there's also a lot of U.S. players that opted out of the World Cup because they didn't want to be in the running, because they wanted to spend this offseason with their families, I'm sure. But Team South Korea, they're hardcore and good for them, but they're also not letting anybody else show their skills.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's probably a lot of other people in Korea that are really good at playing Overwatch that aren't on an Overwatch League team that could showcase their skills. Kind of like Zachary last year.
We don't want to talk about Zachary from last year.
No, please keep talking about Zachary from last year.
I think
That was a low blow, sorry.
well, one of the bummers about the 18 over rule is that so many times we see like these really big breakout performances from players. It's players who are under 18 who we just didn't know about at all before. Like, I mean, the classic example is Flower coming out 2 years ago and putting on this, not even just a widow clinic, but like the joke even was at the time was like he was going to play I keep peeking the mic, sorry. He was going to play every single damage character available, even when they weren't meta or even when they weren't good. And I think, like, we think about like Patafan with Team Thailand as well, like another guy who's like, we want to see out there on the main stage and crush it, but he can't because he's not of age. I know this year I was really hoping Sugar Free was going to make it, but you have all these players who can't make it because of age, and I think obviously you have a lot of Overwatch League players deciding to take the time off because they want to rest. They only have like 3 or 4 months off before they go back to boot camp and before they start training again. I think World Cup's in a weird spot right now where we really don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be like a friendly like game, like contest between a bunch of countries, or is it going to be like the next scouting ground for people that we find?
I think everybody will try their hardest, right? And in the end, like, you can have some countries with a few players that will stand out, but in the end, for those final few places, it will be the teams that connect together, that click together, that can work as a team. And then I have to agree with Mal. Like, I think South Korea, like I've said on our own podcast, like I would be so happy to see another team win this year because all these countries, all these players have evolved. But if they then decide not to take part in the Overwatch World Cup because they want, and I can totally respect that you want to spend some time with your family after this season, but then yeah, they are hardcore, they're dedicated really, really because they are brought up that way. They've been doing it for years and years and years on end. And there will be a time that it will switch, but I don't think it's going to be this year just yet.
I also think, though, like, you've also got, like, a team of superstars, and superstars don't always mesh, right? Like, so it could be South Korea's demise, getting all of these superstars together that maybe are overconfident and don't have that teamwork mentality, and they go in thinking, like, we got this, and they fall on their face for a team, even like Canada, that could just, like, roll them.
Can I draw the Belgian card again for one time? I promise, it's the last time. I promise.
I think it's like
I'm lying. I'm going to do it again. But anyways, if you follow soccer, Belgium has the best players in the world. And right now we're doing really great, but it has taken us a few years to get all these egos aligned and getting people to connect together, 11 players to kind of join up. And I think that's like Mel says, like, it could be that they're not ready for that, and it might be the little gap that we get. On the other hand, it's just a powerhouse, man. I don't know.
Their skill might just take them through.
Well, we definitely need to save some time to talk about what direction Overwatch is taken. Obviously, there has been a lot of reports lately about a potential sequel being announced this weekend at BlizzCon. And I know all of us have kind of shared our thoughts on, you know, what we thought of the news, like what we kind of expect to see, what's going to happen to the base game of Overwatch. But I want to just go down the line and get your guys' thoughts on what you actually want to see from a sequel. Do you want to see everything carry over? Because I know right now a lot of people are freaking out about all of the cosmetics that they have unlocked over the past 3 years not carrying over if it is kind of this own entity. So what are you guys wanting to see from a potential sequel, expansion, chapter, whatever you want to label the next iteration of the game?
I mean, for me, I want to see them. This is the perfect chance for them to basically right anything that's screwed up in the game. They have the perfect reason to get rid of 2 CP maps if that's how they want to go. If they want to get rid of certain abilities, Mercy's res. Be quiet down there on the end.
Or Ed.
They can do that. They can go in and just be like, this is something we don't like, and we want to change it. It's kind of like in Warcraft. They said one of the biggest mistakes they've ever made was introducing flying. One of their biggest regrets was introducing flying. If they would go back, that they would get rid of that. Mm-hmm. Well, they've never had a chance to.
They did go back. They made WoW Classic. Crisis averted. We're going back in time.
But there's no WoW 2 for them to be like, okay, we're going to continue forward with the story and get rid of flying.
They are. They're just going to take WoW Classic and all the expansions and then just not add flying.
Mel, we're not talking about PS2 games on this panel, please.
Yeah. I mean,
I forgot
what?
that's not a popular opinion here.
What am I in?
I'm fearing for my life. I'm in between you guys. It's really.
This
I'm
is
just
why
a tourist,
Mel's not
guys.
allowed
Come
to be
on.
near us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they can go in and change whatever. They can mess with Diva's Matrix, which has been something that has been impossible for them to balance around. It's certain abilities that the game it's just broken. The abilities in the game are broken, and they can go in Overwatch 2 and be like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and just get rid of this. We're gonna push this aside, and they have every reason to do so.
I think in that vein, one of the biggest, frustrations for people because there's so many different types of fans of Overwatch. Some people just like the lore of it. They like to just play the game for fun. A lot of us are on the competitive esports side. And one thing that's caused a lot of tension is the fact that the esports game that's played at the highest level and the casual fan are playing the same exact game in all aspects. There is they've made a decision to not have the esports version and the casual fan version. This opens up Overwatch as the IP to be more of a system where maybe Overwatch 2 is more casual focused, and you can have 2 different games. Maybe you put the Overwatch League game in Overwatch 2's engine, I don't know, but you can tackle both worlds here. You don't need to have because there's only one Overwatch game, you don't need to have the competitive esports game be the same exact version as the game that people who play once a week or just play with their friends or just want to play mystery heroes. How do you balance a game where you need to have people who just want to play Bastion all day and nothing else, mm-hmm. and also have the Overwatch League players in the same game?
You don't allow those people in the game.
Hey, I've seen plenty of Chandelier Bastion lately, so it's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is, but there are different types there's just very drastically different types of players, and I think that all of those players are valuable, and opening up another game or another whatever it is just opens up the possibility to better focus on each of those things and provide more value for both of those for all of those types of people.
I know personally I'm really excited for the lore possibilities of the game. I think Overwatch is this weird case where people are super, super into the lore, but the amount of lore we actually have relative to that is super small. And with the way that people have gravitated and have immediately just locked on these are the characters that I love, we know that from what we've been hearing, we know that there's some more elements coming in, but I really hope that they take the time to develop it in the same way they've done with their other games. Just because with how much people already love this thing, people are going to follow it to the ends of the earth. So I'm just excited to see what they do with lore. I hope they do more of it. I hope the PvE stuff isn't just Left 4 Dead like we've been hearing. So.
Yeah, there goes my little speech about lore. Thanks, man.
Yeah, C and I were talking over here about how hard it is going at the end. We were like, God, I have to remember the whole
But,
time?
yeah, I totally agree. Like, that's the thing I loved about World of Warcraft. That's the thing I love about Diablo is the story they can put in there. It's like you are riding the most badass bike ever, and can go like. I'm going to try and talk in miles here because 120. No? Does that sound silly? Okay, whatever. But a really fast bike, and you're just using it like to kind of peruse around your, I don't know, around your garden or something like that. It just feels like you're not doing the potential that you have as a company, as a group of people, so that they can use that. And the gameplay, they can connect to that because they have proven that they can be really smart with different types of gameplay in their other IPs. And I would love to see some of that kind of trickle into the Overwatch IP and kind of work on that and develop on that. So basically, it's the same as you said, but with an accent.
Makes it so much better. 100%.
He has an accent. It's just California.
All right, guys, let's talk about this, though. Sequels are for things that end. Like, you don't have a sequel for something that still goes on. So Overwatch 2 can't be the same thing, but better. It's going to be very different, in my opinion. I obviously have no insider information or wouldn't be this confident about
Wait,
it.
what?
But, I mean, you have to think, like, if you're thinking Overwatch 2 is going to improve Overwatch 1, what if they've been doing the entire time with Overwatch 1? Putting in patches, making it better, making it different. Like, Overwatch 2 is going to be something different, and it has to be. Or else you're going to, what, have the Overwatch 2 League? Like, that just sounds stupid. And so you're thinking Overwatch 2 is going to be more of this PvE aspect of kind of content that people have wanted to dive more into the Overwatch world. And Overwatch 1 is going to be what Overwatch is. And it's going to continue to evolve, and it's going to continue to grow, but it's not going to change. You're not going to get rid of Overwatch 1 and add in Overwatch 2, because that's what we do every single patch.
And it's not Blizzard's usual way of just doing things. Like Diablo 2 and 3, that took him, 9 years or something in between, which is just crazy. But that's the way they work, and I agree. I don't even think it's, in my opinion, they're just trolling us with the 2. It will be something totally different.
Yeah, it won't be called Overwatch 2.
Yeah, they've
I
been
agree.
leaking stuff like really going, this is an accident, oopsie, and then adding the 2 and stuff like that.
It's like the Valiant stream. That was total accident.
Exactly. So yeah, it's going to be, I really hope it's going to be different. And that will solve the whole issue. Like, I've got all these skins. Yeah, you can still use the skins, buddy. They'll be in your battle.net.
You're
Just
good.
use
You're
them. But we'll know tomorrow. Damn.
Well, it's important to remember that when it comes to Overwatch, it was never built with PvE in mind, but thanks to things like Junkenstein's Revenge or the Archives missions, there's been a really big outcry from the fan base to really explore more player versus environment content. And, I'm anxious to see whether or not this is just going to be like an expansion of different events in the timeline for Overwatch. Because basically right now all we know is, based on reports, like there's like a 4-person mission set in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, so it might have to deal with Lucio's background potentially. Outside of that, it is a big question mark, and we'll find out a lot tomorrow. But I've seen a lot of outcry online lately in regards to Overwatch 2 being a band-aid fix for some of the other issues. Like, we've seen things pop up over the past couple of months that were bugs, essentially, where there was one point where SR was kind of randomly reset, and then Blizzard comes in and is like, oh, that wasn't actually meant to happen, and then everyone kind of blew up, and it's like, wait, you mean they could have done that the whole time?
Listen, Troy Hoban's in gold, though. I feel like that gives everybody hope.
Yeah, Troy being gold made a lot of us feel a lot better about our own gameplay.
Right.
So, Ed finally graduated from the Wood League up to whatever the next one would be.
Yeah, I'm basically on the same level as the off-tank for the San Francisco Shock. Deal with it.
I take that back.
This is what peak performance looks like.
Yeah. This is.
He's not an Ed
You may-
rank.
you may not
He's
like
in
it.
gold. He's not an Ed rank.
Start with.
Sorry.
Alrighty, guys, and unfortunately our time is up for the Overwatch panel. Let's give a big round of applause to our fantastic panelists. Thank you guys so much for coming out and being here tonight. And of course, everybody in the audience, make sure that you check around because we do have some musical entertainment between the this next panel. And then coming up after the musical entertainment, we do have the World of